Hello YouTube, patch 12.2 just came out last night and it's now out on live servers, and I heavily recommend that you watch this video before you go into ranked, just to make sure that you understand everything that's been changing, because this patch was a little bit bigger than the last one. So let's just go into it. So patch highlights: Lulu nerf, Shen nerf, Talon nerf, Kian nerf, and Set nerf. Buffs to Nocturne, Senna, Samira, Veigar, Volibear, Tristana, Yasuo, Yone. Adjustments to Janna, Rengar, Tahm-Kench. And some adjustments for Lethal Tempo, Chemtech Rift and Chemtech Soul, Hextech Soul, Lichbane, and Rylai's. And then a bunch of new skins. So yeah. Let's start off with Seri. So Seri comes out January 20th, so that's now. Usually this a few days before you can actually play the champion in ranked. I'm not sure if they've made the same this time, but that's how it usually is. If you haven't seen Seri already, I have made a video regarding her abilities. And I haven't played her myself on PvE or anything. I haven't really done any information on it. I just know that Philaris said that the clear on this champion, even though it's an ADC, just the fastest clear in the jungle for all ranged junglers. So potentially she could work as a jungler, even though Riot said that it's an AD carry. So yeah, there's that. Then we have the Janna rework. So Janna rework, her movement speed goes from 315 to 330. Base AD goes from 46 to 71.5 to now 52 to 103. AD growth goes from 1.5 to 3, and basic attack range go from 550 down to 500. So she gets buffed in movement speed, base damage, AD per level, but she loses 50 range for it. The removed passive, Janna's basic attack and W Zephyr no longer deals bonus magic damage on her bonus movement speed, and instead is now Janna gains 8% bonus movement speed only while moving towards allied champions. So basically a support type of passive. Then we have Howling Gale, Janna's Q. It went from 60 to 140 mana to now 60 to 100 mana, which means that it costs less mana to use. The minimum range got increased from 100 or 1000 to 1100, and maximum range got increased by 10 units. And the time to destination went down from 1.5 to 1.25. So it means that Janna tornadoes are a bit faster now. The range on Zephyr got changed from 550 from edge to edge to now 650 centered. So I guess the range is a lot longer now. Slow duration increased by a second. Cooldown increased from 8 down to 6 seconds to now 12 at all ranks. The base damage did get increased though, and bonus movement speed also increased. Then we have Janna E. So Janna E basically whenever Janna ability is slow or knock up at least one enemy champion, she receives 20+% heal and shield power. The shield gets reduced in AP scaling and in the normal like base shield, but if you CC or slow someone, it's increased by 20%, therefore it will be bigger. Cooldown goes down from 16 to 12 to now 15 to 9, and the shield decay starts after 0.75 before, now 1.25. And then we have her heal tick rate every 0.25 seconds rather than 0.5 seconds. So she heals more consistently, but the heal is the same. So if you see a Janna, note that the champion is reworked, so be aware that if someone is picking it, they do not have experience on the reworked Janna, so potentially you want to dodge, because yeah, potentially that they don't know how Janna works. And if you see it on the enemy team, then yeah, just be aware of the changes, that pretty much all of her abilities have been updated now. Lulu W increased from 16 to 12 to now 17 to 13, so it got increased by 1 second. Again, pretty solid. I think Lulu synergizes really, really well with a lot of AD carries, so it's not bad. Nocturne health growth increased, Q Q damage ratio increased. Health growth go from 85 to 95, and Q damage ratio goes from 75 to 85. Bonus AD. Very much welcome buff to Nocturne. Sadly, it's not enough to bring him back, so this champion will still be dead. Kiana, base health regen decreased. Brush Q zone duration decreased. So the base health regen goes from 7.5 down to 6. And the grass, so the green camouflage, or not camouflage, the green invis Q goes from 3.5 seconds of invis to now 3 seconds. This can make Kiana jungle weak. Kiana mid barely gets touched. Rengar R passive now enables leaping from camouflage, meaning that if you have Chemtech Rift, you can jump from that. You can also jump from Senna. Senna camouflage. One thing that I've been told is that this is only from whenever he has his ult. It's not from his passive, meaning that Rengar will need to be level 6 before he can abuse this trick. He cannot do it pre-6. Samira, our base damage increased, so it's increased to, let's see, 5 to 25, from 0 to 20. And from 0 to 200 to now 50 to 250. Okay. Senna Q now slows enemies, meaning that you don't have to go Glacial Augment now anymore. And I've been told that now it is First Strike that you'll be using on Senna. So, can be pretty good. Then we have Shen, Q damage decreased. Rip Samson, my Shen duo on the top lane. Increased bonus damage goes from 10 to 40 plus 6 every 3 levels, and then plus 2% per 100 AP of target's max health. I don't quite understand this. Oh, it's this right here. Plus 5 to 7%. Now it goes down from he basically loses 1% of damage in terms of scaling. Temken's Q slow increased, E adjusted, damage stored as grey health decreased unless near multiple enemies. R ally shield increased now grants movement speed upon devouring an ally. So the Q slow gets increased from 40 to 50%. The E shield gets reduced from 45 to 65 to 15 to 55. And it is then increased to the same as before if there are 2 or more visible enemy champions nearby. Doesn't matter if they're dead or alive. Okay. And then amount of healing restored from grey health went from 30 to 100% scaling on levels to now 45 to 100. So this means in a 1v1 situation, you can now kill Temken's. 1v2, he will still be tanky. His Devour shield goes from 400 to 600 plus 100% AP scaling to now 500 to 900, meaning he gets an extra 100 in each rank, plus 150 AP scaling. And he also grants 40% movement speed instead of slowing himself. Okay. Talon, W monster damage ratio decreased, going from 130% down to 105%. I have talked to Costanza, who was rank 1 in season 11, and he says that, yeah, this champion is not going to be good anymore in jungle. Tristana, base health and health regen increased, so base health goes from 559 to 600, so like an extra auto attack in the early game from a support. And base health regen goes from 3.75 to 4, so completely fine, not the biggest change, but I'm sure Tristana will take that. Veigar, Q cooldown decreased, stacks from large monsters and minions increased. So the cooldown goes from 7 to 5 to now 6 to 4, so he basically cuts 1 second off. And stacks granted upon killing large monsters and minions goes from 2 to now giving 3 stacks. Very nice buff for Veigar, can be scary, especially if it's a good Veigar player. Volibear, base AD growth increased, E cooldown decreased. So AD growth went from 3 to 3.5, and the E cooldown went from 15 down to 13. So very much welcome buff for Volibear. Sadly, the champion is still in a bad spot, so the champion, just like Nocturne, probably isn't really gonna be relevant even after the buffs. Q damage ratio increased for Yasuo. Q got increased by 5% better scaling, and same thing for Yone. And personally, I think this is a bit weird coming out of nowhere. Riot have said that it is because people, or the solo queue win rate for Yasuo and Yone have been dropping, and that is because people don't know how to play these champions. So yeah, can't wait to see Desukil get rank 1. Said our base damage ratio decreased, so it now does 65% AD instead of 100. So he basically loses 35% of the scaling AD. That's a pretty big nerf for Set, so I don't think we will see a lot of Set in either mid or jungle, and if we do, it's not going to be that strong. And those are all the champion changes. So now we have item changes. First we have Lich Bane. Lich Bane is now gonna give 15 ability haste, and it is now gonna do 75% base AD scaling, but have a better scaling on AP from 40 to 50. But the base AD basically scales less, meaning that you'll buy this as a kind of like a late game item once you have a lot of AP. The Spellblade cooldown goes from 2.5 down to 1.5, and the item components now also get changed, but the item itself costs the same. Then we have Rylai's. Rylai's also gets a new combination cost, but costs the same. AP goes down by 15, but health goes up by 50. This change is not really gonna change anything. The gems that will buy Rylai's will still buy Rylai's. The people that don't buy Rylai's will not look to buy Rylai's. Then we have Turbo Chemtank. And Chemtank now goes from, instead of gaining 5 stacks per instance of any damage dealt, now it gives you 5 stacks per instant of damage dealt against monsters and champions only. So this does not include minions. And then we have gain 1 stack for every 15 units traveled. Was uncapped, and now it is capped at up to 10 stacks as well. So a small change to Chemtank, and it is a bit of a nerf for some champions, but on other champions it doesn't really matter too much. Also with item changes, now we come to jungle changes. So we have Chemtech Drake, we have the Chemtech Dragon Soul. Now instead of spawning with 80% base health and 50% bonus health, you now spawn with 70% base health and 40% bonus health. And the duration that you're alive goes from 4 seconds down to 3 seconds. So pretty nice nerf to the Chemtech Soul that was pretty broken. It will still be strong, just not completely overpowered now. And then we have Chemtech Rift. Camouflage zones, offensive action, camouflage timer goes from 1.5 to 2.5. And bonus damage versus enemies with more current health than you goes from up to 10% and also up to 12%. Meaning that you will do more damage against people that has more HP than you, meaning that tanks will do more, or squishy champions will do more damage. Tanks will not really see anything. Hextech Dragon Soul is also overpowering compared to other soul effects, though not to the same degree as Chemtech, so they are nerfing the procs from 25 to 75 to now 25 to 50 based on level. So small nerf to the Hextech Dragon as well, kind of nice change. That's it for the jungle. Then we have runes. Lethal Tempo gets becomes a scaling rune now. Before it was 13% for melee and 7% for ranged, and now it's 10 to 15% scaling for melee and 5 to 9% scaling for ranged. One thing you need to take a look at is for melee, it's from level 1 to 15, and for ranged, it's for level 1 to 12. So ranged champions will get full lethal tempo scaling earlier than melee champions will. All random Earth is back. Nice, we can make content around that. If you had an unlucky season start, then you can have fun with that. And then we have a visual update for Sona and Vane, and then we have some bug fixes, and then we have some skins. So we have Porcelain Protector Ezreal, Porcelain Lissandra, Porcelain Amumu, Porcelain Lux Prestige Edition, Porcelain Kindred, Firecracker Set, Firecracker Diana. I like this skin because it's Diana. Firecracker Teemo, Firecracker Tristana, Firecracker Sensei. I like this one as well. Brave Phoenix Saya Prestige Edition and Withered Rose Seri. So that's basically the patch notes. So to quickly do a TLDR of what's happening. Seri comes out, new champion, is an ADC, potentially could be jungle. Janna gets a full rework, becomes more of a support champion and kind of like a lane bully. Lulu gets nerfed, very much deserved. Nocturne gets buffed, but champion is still dead. Kiana gets nerfed, can affect her in jungle, not too much in mid lane. Rengar can now jump from camouflage, but only post level 6. So Senna Rengar could become a thing for bot lane. Samira gets buffed. Riot really wants to make this champion really meta. Senna gets buffed at the same time as the Rengar change comes in. Not a coincidence. Shen gets nerfed. Champion was a bit overpowered, but Shen is still good. Ken can now be killed 1v1, but 1v2 he's still tanky. Talon in jungle is completely gutted. Tristana gets a random buff that doesn't do too much. Veigar now scales even faster and even better. So that's a bit scary. Volibear gets a buff, but it changes nothing. Champion is still bad. Yasuo and Yone gets 5% better AD scaling on their Q, because people are bad at the champion, but the champion is broken. Set ulti gets nerfed, meaning that the champion is not that good anymore. Lichbane gets buffed, potentially could be viable for some champions now that it gives ability haste. I'm not quite sure just yet. Rylai's gets changed, but nothing too crazy. Chemtane gets changed, will affect a few champions that buy this item, and other champions is not gonna affect it too much. Chemtech gets overall nerfed, both the Soul gets nerfed and Chemtech Rift gets buffed. And Hextech Soul gets nerfed, very much welcome to nerf both Souls because they were overpowered. Lethal Tempo now becomes a scaling rune, and melee requires more levels to become fully scaled up on Lethal Tempo compared to ranged. All random Earth is back, great. And we have some visual updates on Sona and Vayne. And then we have a bunch of cool skins. So that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to leave a like. If you have a question regarding the patch notes, if you want me to go more in detail regarding specific changes, then let me know in the comment section down below. And otherwise, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It will help me out a lot. And besides that, then I hope to see you guys in my next YouTube video or on my next live stream over on Twitch. Thank you for watching and see you guys.